Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone is able to hear me and everyone is able to see my screen. If possible, can someone please confirm if you are able to hear me clearly and able to see my screen?
Yes, Vijay.
Thank you, guys. In the last class, we discussed about life cycle hooks. Okay. So what exactly life cycle hook means? There are a couple of responsibilities on the life cycle point of view. It is going to create a component. It is going to render the component and create and render the component as well as its children. Whenever a component is changed, that is data bound properties, input or output, then it is going to reload parent component as well as child component, and it will destroy the component from the DOM whenever you are navigating to a different component here. So these are the responsibilities of a Angular life cycle hook. Totally, there are 8 hooks actually. ng on changes, ng on init, ng do check, ng after content init, ng after content check, ng after view init, ng after view check here. Okay. So by default, ng on changes will be called only when there is a change in the input properties. It will be verified during ng do check, and ng do check will have a change detection. Whenever there is a change in the do check, it is going to call ng on changes, which is going to initialize in the ng on init. After that, the TypeScript side business logic changes, which is going to impact into ng after content init initialization, content checked, whether the new logic, whatever new data, whichever we wrote, it is binded to DOM or not. That is ng after content checked. And it's a child component also, view check, view init. So these are the components are loaded. Finally, we are going to have ng on destroy. Okay, which is going to destroy the component. It is going to destroy the component from the DOM here. So these are the life cycle hooks which I explained in the last class. Okay. So you see here on the picture, DOM, ng on it occurs only at the time of initialization. ng to check, there is a change reduction. ng on changes and ng on destroy. So these are the important things as part of DOM is concerned here. Okay, completely all these events you no need to call. Developer is going to call, sorry, a framework is going to call on its own based on the data which is injected. Based on the data which is injected, typically framework is going to call that action. So unlike other frameworks, guys, okay, this Angular lifecycle completely managed. Angular lifecycle is completely managed by the Angular framework. At what time ng on it should call, at what time ng on changes will be called, when we need to reload the DOM, when we need to change the data is happening, when we need to reload the parent component or child component, everything to be managed by the Angular framework. So it completely reduces the burden of a developer. Okay. Now today I'm going to focus on hands-on. We are going to write some code on a life cycle related stuff. We are going to write some code here. So before I proceed further, as of now, any questions from anyone so far, guys? As of now, is everyone is clear? Any questions from anyone so far, guys? Okay. So we are going to write the code over here, guys. Typically, we are going to write a code here. So, guys, one important point is in interview, guys. Okay. Minimum 2 questions will be there in the interview, guys. Here. Minimum 2 questions. The questions are related to, you need to remember the order, guys. At what order it will be called. Order is very, very, very important whenever order is concerned here. Okay? Understand, guys? Order is very, very important, guys. So we need to remember. So the more practice you do, definitely you will get a knowledge on that. I mean, you'll get a knowledge on that. So based on that, you have here. Okay? Right. So now we are going to write a code now. Okay? Right here. So here I'm going to create one component. ng generate component life cycle. Just I'm creating a component over here. So component is created. There is this created life cycle. Okay. Right here. Inside life cycle, I'm going to write a code over here. Okay. So I'm going to write a code. Lifecycle component implements on init, on changes, do check, after view init, after view checked, after content init, after content checked, on destroy. All these are the things, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. We are going to write a code over here, guys. All are part of what? All are part of Angular core only, guys. All are part of Angular code over core only, which is equal to order is equal to 1, constructor, which I am going to write first one, constructor, right? Even though constructor doesn't have a picture over here, I'm going to write console.log of constructor is called and the order of execution this dot order. I'll increment this dot order plus plus. First I wrote constructor, guys. After that, ng on changes. Sir, when I write ng on changes, who declares this? Simple changes, right? Which I will write a code. 2 codes I will write in life cycle. Second code I will write on the simple changes. I will write the second code, but as of now I'll ignore this. In the next example, I will write here. Okay. Which is going to have ng on changes called. The order of execution is this dot order and right. Next, ng on init. Console.log of ng on it is called this dot order plus plus. ng on changes, ng on init and construct. After that, we are going to write ng2 check. Maybe I'll copy paste this, guys. Okay. So this dot order plus plus. After that, ng after content init. Let me write this. And I'll increment. Next, ng after view init. Next, ng after content checked. Next, ng after view checked. Finally, ng on destroy. Maybe I'm missing this. ng on destroy is called, and the order of execution, and this dot order plus plus. So angular life cycle hooks. Please see the console. Please see the console to get order of execution. Please see the console to get order of execution. Right? Now, I'm going to bootstrap this, guys. Life cycle component, which I bootstrapped it. And in the first component at HTML, right? And let me run the code. So which is localhost colon 4200. You're able to see that, guys? The order of execution. First constructor is called, it is keep on calling, sir. This is keep on calling. Right? First is, sir, everyone is seeing, sir, my screen? First is constructor. After that, my component should be initialized, right? Which is ng on init. After that, ng2 check. Does it has any change detection? Ng on changes is not there. Why? We don't have ng on changes here. Why? Because we don't have any at the rate of input, right? So ng after content init, ng after content check, ng after view init, ng after view check. You saw here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And afterwards, change reduction is going to happen. Always, every fraction of seconds, it is going to have a change reduction, which is going to call. So this is the order where our life cycle events are getting executed. Okay? Any questions, guys, so far as of now? Is everyone is clear?
Sir, one more time, the ng on init, right? Please can you explain what is happening? I'm unable to get that one. So remaining I'm able to see.
Sir, did you practice the visiting card as well as employee details? Those codes you practice, sir?
Yes, yes, sir. I'm also practicing the latest assignment also.
Okay.
So yeah, it is almost done. I'm able to just
Yeah,
see
sure,
the
sure.
part
I mean,
that
just like,
I got confused.
right. You practiced. Can I ask you a question?
Yes, yes, sir. Tell me.
What is the difference you observed in the visiting card component, constructor versus NG on it? In the visiting card component, we wrote the code in constructor as well as we wrote the code in NG on it.
Yes, yes,
What is the
sir.
difference?
Sir, that what, sir? Actually, that has been 2 weeks before, I think, only before. Now, recently, I'm practicing the latest assignment what you gave. That I'm fully clear. Okay. So in that one, that engine, it is, I think it was not there. So only I'm unable to recall. I'm not, I'm not daily
Okay.
practicing the engine on it. Okay. So it is 2 weeks before. So only now I got confused between that one.
Yeah. By default, the confusion came because you didn't practice. Okay, that's what I request here. I'll repeat. Once again, I'll repeat. Almost 10 times I repeated. Now I'll repeat once again. NG on init. Whenever a input property is coming from other components. Okay.
Okay.
Whenever an input property is coming from other components, if I want to load that input property to my component, in the employee details and employee count also we use at the rate of input. Okay. Right. So ng on it by default in a component is initialized, that is getting the data from HTML as well as getting the from input properties. Constructor is only for initializing the hard-coded data. Whenever you want to get the data from other component, in the visiting card component, I clearly wrote the data with constructor as well as ng on it. Okay. So you will understand clearly the difference on ng on it. ng on it component will be initializing to HTML, where that component which is getting input properties from other components, that initialization will happen in ng on it. Constructor will be used only for hard coding, initializing the static data, but not getting a dynamic data, especially getting the data from different components. Here?
Yes, yes, sir. I got it clear.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Right. Any other question, guys? Right. Now we are going to write the next code over here. Now, because why I am writing a next code here, I didn't saw ng on changes, right, sir? This is not called. Why it is not called? Because we don't have at the rate of input, right, sir? Isn't it? I will create a component with at the rate of input and I'll do that. Okay? Right. Now I'm going to create one more component here. ng gc simple changes. I'm creating one more component. Okay. So inside this simple changes, right? So I'm going to write here. Here I'm going to write the data over here. Implement on init on changes. These are the two things we write here. Definitely I need to have at the rate of input, right? Simple input, which is of type string, is equal to I have an input property. The property name is simple input. Okay. Which I'm writing a constructor. Constructor is invoked. Next. ng on it. After that, ng on changes, which is a simple changes, which is having a simple changes here by default. For let property name in changes. So by default, simple changes object. This simple changes object will be prepared by the Angular framework at runtime. Simple changes object will be prepared by the Angular at runtime. I'm exploding that object. Simple changes object, I am going to explode it here. So let change is equal to changes of property name. Which property? I have multiple properties. Here I have only input, simple input, but I have a multiple input, right? In our count component, all, male, female. Like that we have, right, guys? Okay. So simple input, all, I mean, something like that, where we are going to have that property name here. Now, what we are going to write here? Let current value is equal to JSON dot stringify, where change dot current value. This will give the current value. Next. Okay. Let previous is equal to converting a JSON string, change dot previous value. This is the current value. This is the previous value. Now I'm going to print console dot log of property name. So here the property name. Next, current value. Current value. Previous value. That's it. I'm going to print here. This is my, I'm writing a property name. I'm writing a current value. I'm writing a future value. Sir, I am not creating an object here. Simple changes object constructed by the framework. Simple changes object constructed by the framework. Okay. We are writing a code just to see the values inside simple changes. Just we want to see the code. What values it is printing, just I want to see the code here. Okay. Now I'm going to simple changes component. Right. Here I'm going to write I'm taking a user text here. One second, guys. Guys, give me 1 second. Yeah. So user text, which is of type string, is equal to null and first dot component dot HTML. I'm going to write app simple changes. Right. What is the property name, sir? Simple input, right? Is equal to user text. So I'm going to write user text here. One second, guys. User text, which I'm going to write. So this is at the rate of input. This I'm going to take at the rate of input. So input property, right? I'm sending this to simple changes. And in the simple changes dot component dot HTML, enter text is simple input. This is what I have wrote. Simple input. Okay. And in the first component dot ts, I need to capture the data right here. So input type is equal to text ng model two-way data binding is equal to user text. I want to bind. Then I want to call simple changes. I will, whatever I typed here, right? On this text box, whatever I typed here, right? That will be captured over enter text is. Okay. And in the first component, I commented here ng sub, which is going to have. So I am having a text box. Okay. I'm typing A. You saw here current value is A. Previous value is empty. Yes. Current value is AS. Previous value is A. You're able to see that, guys? H. Current value is ASH. Previous value is AS. Isn't it, guys? O. Current value ASHO. Previous value ASH. K. Current value is Ashok. Previous value ASHO. Now I am removing, sir. I am removing, sir. Current value ASHO. Previous value is ASHOK. Current value is ASH. Previous value ASHO. Correct, right? On every keystroke, automatically, which is getting called over here, guys? NG on change is called, right? This is where we wrote in the CC logo. You remember, guys? Core is practiced credit card logo. In the credit card logo, this event will be called by the Angular framework only whenever there is an input variable changes. I typed something on the text box, which is change the credit card logo, right? Yes or no? Whenever there is a change in the property name, and it automatically captures NG on changes, and it is going to change. Okay? Some idea you got it, guys, here? So far, everyone is clear? So what it is, how many properties are there? That many properties. And that property, what is the current value? What is the previous value? I captured current value as well as previous value. Okay? So this is where we are going to have life cycle hooks. That's why I write a separate code for simple changes. So explicitly, I want to come. If I want to combine both the things, you will confuse. That's why I wrote two separate codes, life cycle as well as separate code which I wrote here. Okay. Any questions over here? As of now, any questions over here, guys? Okay. So with this, guys, Angular core is completed. First topic of my course, first topic, Angular core. What we discussed so far in Angular core, Hello World application, the execution cycle of Hello World application. After that, how we can merge HTML, TypeScript, and TS files. Then data binding. Inside the data binding, property binding, attribute binding, event binding, two-way data binding. We saw at the rate of input. Then we saw binding the data into HTML, for loop, ng for, ng if, ng switch. And we saw at the rate of input, at the rate of output, track by pipes, default pipes, custom pipes, and we wrote some custom pipes. After that, event driven. When a event is triggered in the child component, triggering the data to the parent component. After that, we saw directives, predefined directives, custom directives, where element ref, renderer to, host binding, host listener. After that, we saw a real-time implementation on directives on a credit card application. We wrote it. After that, we saw life cycle hook. So these are the topics which I covered as part of Angular basics of core. Okay. Make sense, guys, everyone? Okay. Right. Now the next portion of our code is services. Okay. Services is our next part. What is the meaning of a services here? What exactly the meaning of a services? Okay. So as of now, we saw on a services point of view. Okay. Yeah. Any other question, guys, before I proceed further on services? As of now, any questions from anyone? Can we go to services now? Can someone respond, guys, at least? Can we go to services or any other question?
Yes, sir, we can proceed. So, no,
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Yeah. Okay. Services are the building blocks of Angular application, which contains complete business logic. Services are the building blocks of application which contains business logic. Sir, components also have business logic, right, sir? And services is also having business logic, right? How many business logic we are going to have? Here, this business logic is in every Angular project, we have services which contains the business logic related to gathering of or gathering, collecting or providing the data from component by interacting with backend. Our component to backend. Backend will have a data. Component will have a front end. MVC, right? Model is our backend. View is our front end. Controller, that is services. Services are the controller. Services are the controller. Right, guys? Model has the data. View is a front end. Services are the controller layer between components to backend as well as backend to components here. Components to backend as well as backend to components, right? So Angular can provide dependency injection principle, guys. Angular can provide dependency injection principle, which manages the state management. Sir, dependency injection. What is the meaning of dependency injection? What exactly the meaning of dependency injection? Typically, so which exactly dependency injection? Which take care of injecting the dependencies. For example, in our backend, I have a base class as well as child class. I have a base class which is completely containing of multiple child classes. Right? 1 second, guys, 1 second. Yeah. So dependency injection, I'm going to keep in the next topic. Okay. Two things in services. One, services is backend related stuff. Okay. If I want to get the data from backend, I need to use services. If I want to update the data to the backend, I need to use a service. Okay. So we have two types of services, guys. Interacting with backend with REST services via HTTP protocol. Interacting with backend with REST web service via HTTP protocol. That is one type of service, as well as state management. I have multiple components, guys. Component 1, component 2, component 3, component 4. Right? And any change in component which reflect other components also. That's what I told, right? Angular JS to Angular differences. In the demo, I mentioned, right? Angular JS to Angular. If I change in one component or one page, and if the change is impacting to other layers, then it's difficult. I mean, developer need to write a lot of code, right, guys? Developer need to write a lot of code on this, right?
Yes.
But Angular is going to have typically dependency injection principle, which will take care of that. Object will be created by the framework. State will be created by the framework. Object will be destroyed by the framework. Object will be created by the framework, destroyed by the framework. State will be managed by the framework. Okay. So this is a basic introduction of services here. Maybe I'll proceed further. It is an important topic which I need to take further. But before that, I need to share the code, guys. Last class code I didn't share, guys. So let me download lifecycle hooks. Angular show kiting. Lifecycle I'm going to zip it. So that contains PPT as well as the code, guys. Okay. Sir, this zip file contains notes. Right. So I uploaded the code on the previous class and this. Tomorrow I'm going to start services, guys. As part of services, as I told, two types of services I'm going to cover. Okay. First is I'll make a REST call. Till now we hard coded the right, guys. Employee details, everything I hard coded, right? In our employee details component. You remember, guys? In employee details component, we hard coded this data, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So which is having this. We are going to remove that. This hard coded portion, we are going to remove that and we are going to keep that. Give me 1 second, guys. 1 second, please. One second. Yeah, we'll discuss for tomorrow, guys. Next part, and we'll wind for today, and we'll discuss for tomorrow. Okay.